Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe here. Now we all know that EmuDeck is fantastic for installing and configuring emulators, but did you know that there is a store built into EmuDeck that can get you free games? Dozens of them that require no extra work from you. Just click a button and you're ready to play. Today I'll show you how to set that up. I'll show you my top 10 choices after playing every single game in the list. Stick around. All right, well, let's get started. We're going to assume you already have EmuDeck installed. If you don't, you'll need to do that first and then come back here. We'll also assume that you have Emulation Station set up to run out of Steam. If you don't, launch Steam ROM Manager here, make sure that you parse Emulation Station, and add it to Steam. We'll go through it really fast, but the purpose of this video is not really to show you how to use Steam ROM Manager, but this is pretty simple. Just save it to Steam, it'll inject it, and then the next time you run Steam, you will actually see that you have Emulation Station listed here. This is what you're going to play all these free games out of, so you'll have to have that. But it's really fairly simple. Go to the EmuDeck Store, it will show you some featured games and then games running on different systems. So make sure you click through all the systems and look for games that you're interested in. Installing is just as easy as clicking the install button and hitting OK. I mean, really, that's it. And then Emulation Station will run the game for you. All of these games are installed in the appropriate emulation folder underneath the ROMs and system that you're installing under. So if you install a Game Gear game, it'll be under Game Gear. If you install it under Game Boy, it'll be under the Game Boy. And it always puts it in its own folder, Homebrew, so it doesn't mix up with your other like commercial ROMs. So it's very, very simple, very easy to keep things split and separate. It's easy to clean up for afterwards. We'll launch Emulation Station and go to the platform in question, and you will see there will be a Homebrew folder ready for you. Go into that Homebrew folder and all the games that you downloaded for free will be there. So now that you know how to do it, I think it's time for me to show you my 10 favorite games. Listen, I played every single one of these, so you don't have to. So obviously our taste may be a little different, but let's start checking them out. All right, we're going to start with Dangerous Demolition. This is a simple game, but very, very frustrating and fun at the same time. So that ball needs to hit the brick. So shoot the ball to turn it blue. When the blue ball is active, it'll break the brick. Sounds simple enough? True. But when you start getting multiple balls with a lot of bricks, some that you can't break through, well, the game gets considerably more interesting. Did I mention that you can't let the balls hit you or you die? And you have to start over. So it's an interesting, simple, but very fun game. Next up, Into the Blue on Game Boy. Now this is fun. This is like one of these other sort of Tetris or Dr. Mario type games where you shuffle the characters around until you line them up and then they disappear. It's easy to figure out, but it's kind of hard to master as you sort of have to figure out how all of the blocks will work. And you can only move blocks that you have access to another block. So you can see how this could be rather challenging. Next up, Polka Sheep. Great name. This is one of those standard one-button push sort of games. One button only, you don't control anything other than jumping. How long you hold the button dictates how long that you jump. Now, as you can see, it seems a lot easier than it is. We're just going to skip around a little bit so you can see. The goal here, of course, is to get to the top where there is something waiting for you. That is your goal, is to touch that. And the levels get more and more intricate as you go on. Neat little game. All right, the bouncing ball. This one I've seen before, but what the heck. This one you have to bounce the ball over to the heart. Seems easy enough until the levels start getting a little gnarly. Then you have bricks that will break once, break with 2 bounces, bricks you have to break through to get to your destination. It's a pretty fun game. I got sucked into this for like an hour and I wouldn't stop playing it, but it's pretty neat. I think you would enjoy it if you give it a shot. Another World on Game Boy Advance. This game really needs no introduction. You probably already know it. You've probably played it. But the Game Boy Advance version is so good and so clean. This is, if you've never seen it, an adventure game, very cinematic adventure game where, I don't want to ruin anything for you, but essentially it's free run, free roam, but you are going to have to memorize screens. You're going to have to memorize movements. And like I said, it's very cinematic. It's not designed to be super action-based, but it's tons of fun. If you've missed out on this title somehow in your life, it's time to play it now. Next up, Apotris. This, of course, is Tetris on the Game Boy Advance, but it's incredibly well done. Tons of different game modes. You've got look ahead, you've got quick drop, everything that you would possibly want in a Tetris game is here without a price tag. So if you want to play Tetris for free on your Steam Deck with all the bells and whistles and all the features you could want, then here it is, right here for you. Blast Arena for Game Boy Advance. This is one of those weird music games that I really kind of got into. It takes a while and you'll die a lot, so don't let the ease of me playing this fool you. Essentially, you have to move this cursor to close or touch these yellow boxes. And you got the music pounding in the background. Any of those white bullets will kill you. And the idea is to do this as many times as you can before you die. There's some sort of slippery motion with this, which makes it a lot harder to control. You got the music going on. It's a whole big thing. Interesting game, worth a try. All right, Phantom Gear on Genesis or Mega Drive, depending on what side of the pond you're on. This is an above-average platformer, very, very beautiful. I believe it's only a demo. I didn't get a chance to play it all the way through, but you've got all the basic mechanics you would want. You have your jumping, collecting, you have weapon bonuses, all sorts of stuff in here. You have barriers to break. It's a quintessential type platformer, but it's gorgeous. It plays very, very well. It's very smooth, and it's definitely something you should be adding to your freebie list. Of course, you have different weapons as well, so that's great. All right, Tourmaline on Genesis. This is a cross between like Dig Dug, Mr. Do, and Boulder Dash. There's a lot, I mean, it's like pretty much every one of those games is in here. The idea, of course, is to collect all of these gems, and while you're at it, don't get killed by dropping a rock on yourself like that, or getting hit by one of the bad guys. The levels get very, very interesting and complex as you move forward. A simple looking game, but tons of fun, worth your time. Blade Buster, our last game here. This is an NES title. This is your standard sort of shoot 'em up, your space version of 1942, Raiden, whatever. It's the same sort of idea. Shoot as much as you can, collect as much as you can. You've got 2 minutes to score as high as you can. Weapon upgrades, various enemies, big bosses, you name it, it's all here, just like you would hope to see. Listen, I hope you enjoyed taking a look. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, you know what to do. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.